Chapter 85, Supergroup. Jake was smiling broadly despite the headache pressing behind his eyes. He had only glanced at Kent, just a quick check, and found him sitting in some downtown office working at a computer. That was all. The pain bloomed immediately, sharp and instant. Jake pulled away before it could get any worse. That was fine. They were with real mages now. Cup's friend Greg dragged his feet as they piled into cars and headed out towards the edge of the city. The quarry they ended up in was little more than a wide scar in the land. Loose towers of rock piled high on three sides like a crude arena. Greg stood at the center of it all, hurling glowing embers at glass bottles, metal plates, and whatever else they could find and toss into the air. Each target shattered, melted, or exploded in a shower of sparks. Emily and Stephanie watched stunned. The sour doubt of the morning evaporated in the face of reckless, undeniable power. This was magic. This was what wizards were supposed to look like. Greg flung an empty water bottle high into the air and snapped a burst of heat into the base, sending it arcing up and over the rocks with a triumphant yell. "This is awesome!" Jake shouted, his voice lost in the chorus of whoops and laughter. "This ain't nothing," Greg said casually, scooping up a wrapped slab of metal that might have once been a part of a car. Jake barely noticed anything else. Greg poured power into the metal. It glowed white hot, edges dripping and smoking as it softened. He crushed it effortlessly in his hand, then hurtled the molten ball down the rock corridor. It heated further mid-flight before bursting apart like a firework. Everyone jumped and cheered again. High above them, hidden along the ridge of rock, a scout watched in silence. He spoke softly into his radio, confident his voice wouldn't carry. "At least two, Commander, not Shapers," he reported. "If the aura specialist is accurate, all five are attuned and aware. No formal discipline detected. Should I approach?" "You're certain they aren't Shapers?" Mora asked, watching the live feed from several hundred miles away. "Their signatures are similar," the scout admitted, eyes never leaving the group. "But look at them. No control, no structure, no academy training of any kind." Below, Jake looked up. He narrowed his eyes at the ridge, and the scout froze. "What do you advise?" Mora asked calmly. "Shut up," Jake yelled, taking a few cautious steps towards the empty hilltop. The others followed his gaze, confusion rippling through them. Mora leaned closer to the feed. Lokar was one of the best. He was invisible. Not truly. His gift made him unnoticeable. Minds slid past him, ignored him, forgot him, even while you were speaking to him or in the same room. Mora herself had lost track of him mid-conversation more than once. And yet, the youngest boy was staring directly at him. Lokar felt a chill down his spine. Perhaps he had underestimated them. "What is it, Jake?" Emily asked, scanning the ridge. "There's someone watching us," Jake said simply. "I don't see anyone," Emily replied. "I know," Jake said, "but they're there." Emily straightened and raised her voice. "Come out of hiding!" Lokar dimmed his field on instinct, and then he was there, revealed to all of them. A soldier dressed head to toe in black stood atop the rocks. Neatly trimmed beard, compact backpack, a weapon holstered at his thigh. "Disregard her command and retreat, Lokar," Mora ordered sharply, eyes locked on the screen before her. Lokar couldn't. Sweat emerged along his head and neck. "Tell us who you are and what you're doing here," Emily commanded. "Tor Lokar Folk," he answered unwillingly. "Shaper incursion scout." "Lokar, retreat, now," Mora commanded once again. "On reconnaissance for Shaper Command," Lokar continued in a flat voice. "Observing potential Shaper activity for report." "Stand there and ignore us," Emily said, then turned back to her group. "What should we do?" she whispered. Jake shrugged. Stephanie looked between them. Greg stayed silent. Cup snorted. "Tell him to fuck off and forget about us. I'm not working with a Fed." Emily hesitated and then nodded. She turned to the man once more. "Forget you found us," she said firmly. "Forget everything about us, return to your people, and report nothing." Lokar stepped back, then faded away impossibly once more. Jake followed him with his powers. It hurt badly, but he held on. Tracking the man felt impossible. Tracking the pod that he climbed into after several minutes was much easier. Mora watched the feed with a faint smile. Impressive, she murmured to herself, disabling her comms with Lokar. Jake watched the pod skim across the landscape, lifting cleanly into the air and racing back towards the alien presence. Let's get out of here, Cup said. Stephanie grabbed Jake's arm, pulling him towards the truck. Emily was talking, asking questions, but Jake barely heard as he was concentrating. 15 minutes later, the pod touched down among hundreds of identical craft. Lokar marched into a meeting chamber where 4 others waited, including the woman from Jake's dream. Jake flinched at seeing her again. Lokar snapped to attention. No anomalous activity detected, no Shaper signatures. Then why did you abort early? Mora asked. No findings, Lokar said quickly. No reason to linger. Report to medical, Mora ordered. Full written report, due immediately. Jake's head throbbed violently, and for just a moment he thought she looked straight at him. Her eyes slid past, and he pulled away instantly. I think we're good, he said weakly from the back seat. What did you see? Emily asked. Can we get pizza first? Jake begged. I'm starving. Stephanie and Emily exchanged a look. Then Emily sighed. Fine, she said. Pizza.